Hi, my name is Damien Montero from BocaJS. Today we are doing a series called Lunch and Learn, which we'll do weekly. This is your chance to sort of get together with other developers. In this case, it's a normal procedure that you would do with your workers, and you would go and either share or they would share with you during lunchtime. The boss normally pays for lunch for those situations as he or she knows that you're going to be able to share information with other developers, or other developers will share it with you, and the whole team will grow together. In this case, I want to share with you something that I love and I think a lot of you would like to know about. It's how to contribute to open source, in this case, GitHub. So if you've ever wanted and to see what's going on and see what it is that you can contribute, then this is an excellent course for you. Who am I? My name is Damien Montero. I've been doing this for about 19 years, developing that is, not speaking on this particular topic. But I love me some JavaScript, and this is a BocaJS Lunch Learn, so we'll be talking about Node in this case. But most of the things you learn here have nothing to do with a particular language. It has to do with GitHub, but even then, the things we're going to be doing is pretty much in every single environment. I love to teach. I've been doing it for a long time, and I hope you enjoy what I'll be teaching you. I belong to BocaJS, so if you want to go ahead and join us at bocajs.org, you'll find that every Tuesday we have a similar event, just hour-longs with pizza, drinks, and a lot of other developers that want to give you some of their time, and hopefully that you will give some of their time to you, answer some of their questions, and you'll get some of your questions answered. All right, let's get started. We have a particular project that I like to talk about in this case, and it's a project that you might be interested even if you don't like this, what we're about to talk about right now. In this case, it's sample APIs. It's been created by the great Jeremy, or Germbol as he's known, in the Palm Beach JS group. Now what he found that is when he was teaching, and he is a teacher of JavaScript, JavaScript front end or back end, and they were needed to access an API, he felt like he had to explain authentication and keys and OAuth, when he was like, you know what, Damien, I simply just want to let the teachers, the students, learn about APIs, how to get to them, how to access them, etc., etc. We'll worry about authentication, about other things, a little bit later. So what he did is he created samplesapis.com. And in this case, you can see from the right-hand side of the screen, you're seeing things like Futurama information. And if you click on it, you get information about the different things you can ask for. So information or characters. And click on it, characters. Here's a JSON files that will give you details about a particular client, a particular character in the JSON universe. You know, I apologize, the Futurama universe. Now, I can't contribute much to Futurama, as a lot of information has been added to this, but I can contribute to one of the links down here, countries. If you look at that, what he's created is different endpoints that you can query for your code to do things like, for example, find out a particular country's name, you know, like a list of countries. And this is used in other parts of it. So Bulgaria is BG, and Belgium is BE. Now, these are simply a lookup, and that might be good for a pull-down menu that you want to sort of showcase. You might want to find the capital of the particular city that you're in, or particular country, pardon me. So again, the old lookup would drop down the list, and when you chose one of the, for example, Belgium, you would see the Brussels is the capital of Belgium, BE Brussels, as you can see in there. And there's different ways to doing that. Now, we're not going to teach you how to do accessing any particular API, a simple query or GET or regular REST request. If you know what that means, we'll help you with this. But we want to contribute to it. What can we contribute to it? They have names, they have capitals, they have phone, they have currency. Well, I thought population. Looking around the internet, it was a bit of a difficulty. I found some JSON files that had done it. Yeah, now I could Google it, let's be honest, and go one at a time and saying, Google, what's the capital, what's the population currently of of Belgium, and what's capital of, Argentina. What's the population is what we're talking about here. And so what I did is I looked at information, and as anything that you've seen before, I found some information that was in a format I couldn't really use. I used some information over here. I found a particular JSON detail that had some information of what's going on, but it had, if you look on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side is the actual JSON, on the right-hand side is sort of like cleaner, human-looking version of that code, cleaned up, if you will, that lets you know that I have 3-digit code and that it included every single year. So it had a JSON file that was beautiful that was said, essentially, what is the population of Belgium in 1960. There's a population in Belgium saying 1961. It went all the way down to 2016, and that was good enough for me. So what I needed to do is grab everything of 2016. Okay, there's a simple method that you can do that, and I'll show you that in a second. And then we wanted to go ahead and use this other JSON file with essentially another set of data that grabbed the 3 digits code that the population data set had and converted to 2. Again, what we're trying to do is end up with something that looks like this. This is the capitals country, and so what I want is the capital, or the letter initials, in this, and for Belgium it's BE, and to the right, the population, the most recent one, in this case 2016, and that's fine. So we want to end up something like this. What I did is I coded something, that's the part of the contribution, and I went ahead and put it in this directory. So for our contribution, for what we're talking about, we have everything in the convert. I'm going to run the node convert that does all the code, and it does a little information, and I'll show it to you, and I'll leave it in the GIST under the description at the bottom. If I don't, leave a comment to remind me. But it really grabs those 2 data sets and gets something together. Here it is. Obviously, it's the right information, but let's put it somewhere that's more of a prettier. And this screen, this is a particular online version that will give you exactly what you're looking for. So let's get rid of the other data sets. And so get back to the information. We wanted something to look like this, but instead of having capitals, it had populations. And we have it. Here it is in the population. Okay, so how do we achieve this goal? Well, let's look at what they did. So again, we're trying to contribute to the GitHub of sample APIs. A lot of the times you will see a link at the top right corner. Very usual, it's just a common thing. Well, they'll give you to the GitHub page. In this case, they have it on the description. Good enough for me. Let's click on that. This is Jermbo's page. There's all the information. And what we're looking for is seeing what it is that how he sort of lays it out. He lays it out in this particular way, a contract, and in there, individual file that has all of the things combined. And as you can see, the name is there. Then at the very bottom, there's the capitals, pardon for the fast scrolling capitals. And so what we want to do is add something that says population, colon, open brackets for an array, open square brackets, and then the list of the array. If you look carefully, that's what we got here. Ignore this particular exit curly bracket. It's just part of the creation of an object and writing it to a file. So we're good to go. You can just contribute this. We'll be good. Okay, so GitHub's easy, right? Just go ahead and edit this page, and that's not true. Although there is an edit button here, that's probably because I know Jeremy, and so therefore he might let me an error button, but that's not always the case. Again, what you want to do is go to the beginning of the page. If you simply wanted to use this is sort of another Git information. You can click on this green button. You have 2 choices. You can use Git. We will use that in a second. You could simply copy this link and get a copy of it on your computer. Now, you won't be able to contribute back because you're not part of that team. If you are, it's simple, easy peasy. But in this case, we're not. We're going to contribute to an open source project that's already out there, in this case, sample APIs. So what do? So first, we want to fork the project. Essentially, we're going to get a copy, and you'll see that over here. It's asking me, I have all these people that I represent, so I'm going to represent it as me. Beautiful little animation. Here it is, forking it. Really, it has a good animation. It's making a copy to me. So now the Jermbo project is now living now on my list of projects. Now, it isn't that I moved it. I simply got a copy, a fork in the road to my copy of it. Now, what the reason for this isn't for everybody for me to tell all of those beautiful, chicks over there at work, or boys, whatever it is that we're going after. What I've done is amazing because it is a fork, and GitHub will show you at the very top. It's coming from the original project in there. Now, what we want to do is be able to grab our version of the copy, work on it, and we'll see what happens next. We'll submit a pull request. That's sort of what we're going to be doing about it. Okay. So if you look at the very bottom of the screen, this is the command line of where I am. On the left-hand side, we're already in the convert directory. Let's get out of this. I'm going to show you that there's a convert directory. I'm going to close it as we have done what we needed over here. We'll look at that file in just a second. We will git clone. What we're doing is we're cloning or getting a copy. I know we talked about forking being a copy, but think of it like I need to work on. That should be the work on thing. So clone is working on that. And I've copied and pasted the URL that I had here. Let me switch back over here that screenshot that you see over here, right up here, what I've highlighted on the right-hand side is what I essentially copied by clicking on this button and then copied it down here. Git clone that. I'm going to press enter, and within a couple of seconds, I'll have a copy of it. I'm going to ls and look and see that we have a samples API. I'm going to go into the samples API, and I can to run it and follow the instructions to get it working and things like that. But in this case, we kind of know what it is that we need to do. We need to go into the directory. Again, if you look carefully, I'm going to switch back. It looks exactly like this sort of thing. Inside countries directory, there's a countries.json file, and we're going to be editing that country file with our information that we have over here. Okay, so let's do that. Under countries, on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on countries and then scroll down to the very bottom. I have a 2-button mouse here or trackpad, so I'm going to simply scroll down to the bottom. This is their way. I'm going to contribute by adding a comma here, and I'm going to copy the information we have here. I'm going to copy it all. Bear with me here as we do a bit of copying. And here we are. We have a copy of what we need to do. Okay? We've done it. We've contributed what we're looking for, and we like it. We've tested it. We've run through it. Let's just say we tested it. In front of you, I didn't test it, but I know it's right. And we're going to go ahead and say, I like it. It looks good. I'm going to submit it back, not to its repo. That's in a minute. We'll do that in GitHub to my own. I'm going to git add. I can say what I want to add, or I can do period. Now, there is some discussion as to where it's true, but essentially it's just saying, you know what, whatever's changed, just submit it. And I'm happy with that. I'm going to git commit. Oops. This really says, no, don't just get it ready. This is the description I'm going to do. Added population to the country API endpoint. Boom. I now have it on my box ready to go. Now it's all packaged and ready to go. We need to tell Git, push it up to GitHub. Remember, Git and GitHub are two different things. GitHub is the social network that we do our code, and Git is the program that we utilize to get things up there. Git space push will push the information to my version of the repo, my version of the project. Let's look at that. I'm going to close this down as it's already good. This is my version of it. I'm going to refresh by hitting the command R. You can hit the control R if you don't have a Mac. It's all the same, by the way. And if we look down carefully at the very bottom, we now have our contributions under population. So if it matches exactly what they've had, so I apologize for all that scrolling. You're probably going a little bit crazy. You'll see that we essentially have a method, pardon the noise of the air conditioning, and we go ahead and have a list that we need to. We're good to go. I'm happy. So we're going to go to the front page, and we're going to see what's going on in there. In this front page, we will see different things in here. We will be able to do a new pull request, which we haven't done and we haven't seen in the other screen. The reason why is that it's ours, and we want to submit to the master, to the main page. I'm going to click on Submit, New Pull Request, and it shows me on the very bottom of the screen what was there before and what I've done. And if I'm happy with how it was and what's going on, I'm going to click on Pull Request. Now, this is going to be the description. You want to go ahead and say, you'll see that it grabs what it is that I've had and lets me describe more about it. And here I can go and say, wanted to show off my skills by adding population to the country API endpoint live on YouTube and Twitch. Hope you knew that. All right, so that's it. We've put a description, we have our code, and we're going to put a pull request. And click on it, and we're done. No, actually we're not. There's a couple of things that happened. One, the system went and checked it, saying, oh my goodness, while you were doing that, somebody else was doing that, and there's a bit of a conflict. That line in the bottom says there is no conflict. In other words, it's fine with the changes you've made. So because of that, we can go ahead and say, I feel confident. Now you'll notice that if we go to a code and we go to countries and we open up that particular file, the file that we changed, When you scroll to the bottom, population's not there. So what's next? Well, this is the concept you've done. You've made a suggestion, and that's truly all you've done. You can harass the user if you know their endpoint. I know Jeremy particularly on Slack. I can text him and I'll say, hey, approve my improvement. But regardless, he will look at the information, and others that contribute to this group will look at that and figure out if it's the right thing that needs to be added. At this moment, we're pretty much done. What will happen there is there will be a discussion back and forth. Jeremy will say, great suggestion. Someone else, Tom, will say, oh my goodness, you did it wrong. The curly brackets are in the wrong place. Go ahead and correct it. And you can make those changes back on your own repo, your own version of this project, and then submit a new change to that. The old change will not be thrown away, but it simply will list yourself as one of the changes. Once I've made the changes, I will also show up here on the insights or information about this particular project. So that under contributors, you will see that there has been some contributions by different people. There have been some contributions by Dev, Mr. Chris Rogers, the amazing Chris Rogers. We've made some contributions by myself, other than the one I've made. These are the ones who are being checked in. And of course, Jeremy, the original creator of this. At this moment, pretty much the video is done. You want to have any questions, leave them in the comments. But remember, the next step is essentially that Jeremy will go ahead and say, I like it, or I don't like it. He will read comments, and he can make a choice of just simply deleting it, saying, not good enough, not my standard, not interested in it, and simply delete it, or simply be there forever. I've made some contributions to some great projects to add Visual Studio Code to ARM, and although the editor, the author, has loved my contributions, he hasn't accepted it, and it's a he in this situation. So, just be aware of that. It's a social network. You are simply requesting that your work be accepted in there. Lastly, an important thing to note, there are a lot of fantastic projects out there, and you may say to yourself, I'm not privy enough, I'm not good enough to contribute to these amazing developers out there. This one's the one that you can easily contribute to. But anyways, what you should remember is that if you notice at the very bottom of the project, there is documentation, there is explanations, there is always a chance for you to contribute not only a small correction, a typo, a addition. In here, it doesn't really tell you what to do. It's kind of at the very bottom, how to start locally, how to run it, but maybe there's more description you need to tell them what's going on. So remember, when you contribute something, well, the whole world gets better. The tide rises all boats. And so anything you can contribute in any which way, be grateful to all of us. Thank you for coming and seeing us on Lunch and Learn. I hope you had a great lunch while you're hearing this. Hope to see you next week. Thank you for listening.